Hey everyone, welcome back to POL 702, Advanced Techniques of Political Science Research. This week we're going to further expand our modeling toolkit in order to predict outcomes that are not only continuous or dichotomous, but other types of outcome measures such as count data or categorical data with more than two outcome categories. Okay. So just briefly, let's look at the outline for this week. First, I'm going to just talk briefly about the idea of generalized linear models and how we define generalized linear models, and particularly how the models that we already talked about, linear regression and logistic and probit regression models, basically are kind of special cases of generalized linear models. Okay, and then we will talk about three common types of data or types of outcomes that we encounter in our predictive modeling. On the one hand, we have count data. Then we have ordered categorical data with more than two outcomes and unordered categorical data. Okay, so depending on your substantive field of interest, you'll encounter outcome measures that you like to predict of these kinds. There are a couple of other different types of models that we'll talk about briefly as well, but these ones I will discuss in a little bit more detail. Going forward, as always, your to-do list for this week, we have our lecture videos. Please watch them before our Q&A session so we can have productive discussion about the content of the lecture videos as well as to prepare for the assignment itself. As always, I will upload the code for the session on our Studio Cloud. The chapter in our required textbook is chapter 15 that focuses on generalized linear models in kind of a broad description. But if you want more details on specific types of models, on like ordered logistic regression and so on, I also added a couple of chapters both from the long book and the Fox book, which we've seen before, on those specific types of generalized linear models. So depending on what your substantive area of interest is, and depending on what type of data, so what types of outcomes you actually want to analyze in your own work, I would definitely recommend to check out those chapters, particularly focused on whichever modeling technique you need for your own research. Okay, in general, especially the long book, it's an older book, but it really gives a really good intuition as to how these models work and how we can think about deriving these models and interpret them. So I would definitely take a look at those. Okay, and then I will also upload assignment 5 on Canvas and RStudio Cloud. This is the second to last assignment, so we're getting towards the end of the semester. So make sure you start working on that early as well. It will be due about 2 weeks from now, so April 30th on Friday. So make sure to give it a look, and we'll talk about it in more detail in the Q&A session as well. All right, so much for the overview. In the next video, I'm going to talk about different types of generalized linear models.